I love my D6. I really do. But it does need more work. I have the head right here. It's disassembled. I'm going to give you a quick brief rundown. The head gasket on it, absolute trash. If you look at it, you'll see this nice little ring right here. That's the sleeve, the squished part, and then the block. This ring should go all the way around to keep your gases in that cylinder and out or into the ports through the valves like it's supposed to. What I think was happening, there's two different ways that this might have happened, or both were happening. Um, excuse me. Oil drains through these big holes right here. And what I think was happening is it was seeping in because every time the piston goes down, it creates a suction force, unless the intake valve is open. And in that case, it would push past these little rings. Those rings should be all the way around, and they punched it right there at that lip. That's stupid. I hate it. I gotta make a new gasket. I could reuse this one. It would be fine, but these little notches around that ring explain why I kind of had low compression. It should have a lot more compression than that. As you can look on the block, the gasket also left imprints of the design on it, but acetone will wipe off any bumps so it's perfectly smooth. There's your sleeve and your block, so it should seal all the way around it. People might tell you that that's fine. It doesn't really matter. And in that instance, they're kind of correct. The engine did run, but it did not run happily. That ring should be there all the way around, because you want those gases or fuel to stay in these cylinders. You don't want them to leave. And when I pulled it out, these two cylinders, they weren't flooded, but they were definitely logged with oil, which is why my oil smelled like gasoline. No bueno. These two had some oil in it, but not very much, so I think it was just mainly these two that were the problem, and explains why my engine was smoking. It's a 3-ring piston setup. The video is on my YouTube channel. They have really, really good rings on here, 2 compression and 1 oil control ring that is specially designed for this engine. It's a great engine, but there's some things they skipped out on. The other portion is the head here. These are the holes that the oil drains through. And what was happening is it would fill up, it pumps up through these 2 holes, goes into the valve cover, and pushes oil down on top of each rocker. This entire thing would fill up to, I don't know how full, but I want to say enough to probably cover each valve spring or valve stem itself. And on the intake side, it's probably sucking in oil, which is how oil got into these ports, got into the intake manifold itself, and onto the pistons, which is not good. So I need to enlarge those. Another thing that I had noticed, which is no bueno, they should definitely do, because every single engine will have it done. And I mean every single engine with a valve. Let me grab this valve right here. I have them labeled, don't mix them up. If you look at the seat, it's just a line from it running. There's no seat. There's supposed to be a seat, or at least a proper groove all the way around it to let you know that that's where that valve sits. And if your valve's not seating properly, it's going to be leaking stuff that it shouldn't be leaking. It's supposed to seal. And you can see that there. You can see the machine marks, but you don't see a seat. That's not good. So I'm going to order some fine grain or fine grit, whatever it's called, valve compound for lapping. And I'm going to lap each and every one of these valves until they have a proper seat. I've never done that before. It's going to be a learning experience, but it's something I should probably learn. So that's the issues for this. Once I have these fixed, I'll give it another once over, make sure everything's good, and hopefully run the darn thing. But those are the issues that I just discovered on it. I know I probably should have disassembled it as soon as I got it to make sure it would be fine, but You know, it's Enjomor. Their engines are actually really great, and this one is really great. I love this engine. It's one of my favorites. But there's some things they skipped out on, and it's not super hard to do. It's a great learning experience.